All right, guys, welcome in. So today we have a loaded show for y'all. A loaded show. It's my first official show ever. I'm still trying to figure out a name for my podcast. So if you have any bright ideas, please comment in the comment section below. Now, with that being said, we have a lot to get into. So, I first started this idea of doing a podcast when I went to San Antonio the other day for a Final Four event. This network that I follow, Field of 68, who I've been watching for years, they do really good work on college sports, all things college hoops related. And they posted on their social media that they were going to be at this bar in San Antonio having a live show. And I was off that day, so I decided to go. So I went down to San Antonio, right down I-35, and I got to the Smoke Sky Bar where the Field of 68 was going to be at. My heart was pounding because I knew that in that building there were going to be some men who I really look up to and really admire their craft and their work. And sure enough, I walk in and there's the man who started everything, Mr. Rob Doster, the founder of Field of 68, sitting right there on his phone. And there was no one else in the place. And so I just was amazed, and I went up to him and I shook his hand and I just let him know how much I love the Field of 68. And yeah, it was amazing. So we chopped it up a little bit. We went downstairs, grabbed some food. I had the pork ribs at Smoke Sky Bar in San Antonio. If you're ever in San Antonio area, I recommend the pork ribs at a Smoke Sky Bar. Pretty good. It comes with some nice fresh onions too. Great. All right. So yeah, it. So I'm eating before the show. The show starts at 4, and I'm eating. I'm talking to Rob. I'm picking his brain about how he got started with the Field of 68, any current opportunities involved with the Field of 68, any job opportunities, so on and so forth. Just shooting the breeze with him, right? And so I'm really selling myself because I really would love to work for the Field of 68. Now, the show begins, and a lot of other people start trickling in the building, coaches, other members of the Field of 68 who I'm fans of. And the show starts. So we start watching it, or I start watching it, and it's just great. They're talking about the upcoming Final Four. They're bringing coaches on the show, having them talk. I got to meet the Louisville head coach. Wasn't very stoked about that because I'm a Kentucky fan, but I went up and introduced myself and told him, I just hope he does well, and I respect him. I hope he does well, just not when he plays Kentucky, of course. So that was cool. The Purdue coach was there, Matt Painter. That was really neat. Obviously, the Boilermakers were in the national championship game in 2024, so to meet Mr. Painter was pretty cool. So I'm talking to one of the newcomers on the Field of 68. I'm just like, hey man, like, what kind of advice do you have, or how did you get selected to join the Field of 68? So on and so forth. And he just said, I really recommend just starting your own podcast and writing every day and just continuing to work on your craft. So here I am. I was like, I've always thought about doing a podcast, but never really like, I don't know, had the energy or effort to do it. But now after he said that, and after meeting my idols essentially on the Field of 68, here I am doing this podcast. So boom. So they're doing the show, everything's going good. I enjoy my ribs, I'm watching my day off. It's great, right? And I look out the window, and who do I see walking up the stairs with his sunglasses on and in his suit, looking very sharp? Well, that would be Mr. John Fanta, ladies and gentlemen. And Mr. John Fanta is probably the biggest face in college basketball right now. He's an icon. If you're not familiar with Mr. Fanta, this guy has so much personality and enthusiasm about college basketball. It is insane, ladies and gentlemen. John Fanta, if you're not familiar, go check him out on social media. John Fanta is college basketball. His post game interviews, his press conferences are second to none. And the work that he does on the field of 68 is amazing. I mean, even my grandma knows who John Fanta is because when we watch the show together, he's always the one with the most personality. He's always got the most to say, and he's just hilarious and he's great. So I knew they told me John Fanta was going to be there. And when he arrived, I was just blown away. I mean, this guy is a legend in the college basketball world. So I'm sitting there on the couch and he walks in and I'm just like, yo, no way. I mean, talk about aura. This guy had aura. Like, I'm not even lying. Like, this guy had so much aura. Like, dog, it was crazy. So, I didn't want to go to him right away. I just wanted to, play it cool, just laid back. And so I let him, dap up all his homies from the field of 68. And I was just observing him, observing how he interacted with others and his mannerisms and things of that nature. And I just couldn't wait to go up and speak to him, really. So whenever there was a break in the show, I went up to him, introduced myself, and I told him my name and what I do and kind of what I hope to be doing. I basically told him, I want what you have, the lifestyle of being a college basketball reporter, everything that comes with it. I just want that life and to be able to be able to go to a Final Four for my job, because right now I'm a server and that's great and all, but I wasn't even able to watch the Final Four this year because I was working, which is fine. That's life, but in one calendar year from now, I want to be a lot closer to my dreams and my goals to where I can actually, maybe even be at the Final Four. Wouldn't that be nice? And hopefully my team, Kentucky, will be in it as well. But that's neither here nor there because we have yet to get to the Final Four in quite some time. I believe 2015. So I was a freshman in high school last time we got to the Final Four. Anyways, so Mr. Fanta was unbelievable in person. I mean, very responsive, very receptive to what I was telling him. I could tell he was listening to what I had to say, and he gave me his email. He said, "Hey, man, right now it's a very busy time for us in the college basketball world. We have a lot going on." He said, "Shoot me an email next week, and I will send you some publications for whom you could possibly write for as a journalist." And so I was like, "Bet, like, let's go. Like, okay, give me your email, sir. I'll hit you up next week." And that was that. We took a picture and we just chopped it up a little bit more. And I didn't want to bombard him too much because he was kicking it with his homies from college. And but I talked to him as much as I felt was appropriate, I didn't want to bombard him. So, but it was dope. It was great. I mean, he's a hell of a guy. I mean, he's electric. He's dynamic. He's all the above. I mean, he's got it going on. He really does. So that was my encounter with John Fanta. And then I got to meet Mr. Terrence Oglesby, former player for Clemson, shooting guard, and also a member of the Field of 68. We chopped it up, and that was really cool as well. I'm a big fan of Terrence Oglesby and the work that he does as well. I believe he currently is a reporter analyst for the Charlotte Hornets right now, so he can only spend one day in San Antonio before going back to Charlotte. But meeting him was super cool as well. Big fan of Terrence Oglesby. And then, of course, Mr. Jeff Goodman, who has been in the college basketball world for a while, and he does great work as well, just like the rest of them. And I went up to him and introduced myself and just sold myself to him. And he actually gave me his phone number. he said, "Hey, Luke, call me next week and we'll talk about this, see what kind of possibilities there might be for you out there." Because he has a daughter that's my age or around my age, and he understands, it's hard starting out, like it's hard. And you got to have a foot in the door. You got to know people. You got to make connections. And I got to meet Jay Williams from Duke, former player for Coach K, former player of the year. That was really cool, even though I'm not a Duke fan. But I went up to him and introduced myself, and he told me it's all about relationships. It's all about who you know. And so I asked him, I was like, well, do you have any connects at ESPN that hook me up? And he's like, well, I don't know you well enough yet. I was like, okay. But he's right. Like you really do need to make connections. And that's something that I've come to find out, something that I need to put more emphasis on, get out of my shell a little bit and doing things like this, going out and making connections. Cause I was nervous. I was nervous as hell, bro. Like going up to those guys, I mean, I was a little nervous. I mean, I played it off. I was cool on the outside, of course, but a part of me was nervous, and I probably could have talked to them more than I did. But, I was also very aware of their time. They were working, doing a show that day. So I didn't want to, go crazy and talk their ear off. But I was nervous, and it was just crazy. If you would have told me a week ago that I would meet John Fanta, Terrence Oglesby, Rob Doster, Jeff Goodman, all these guys, I would have looked at you in your eyes and told you, what? How? Where? And so just, it was crazy. Like, I was with them virtually all day. I mean, 4 or 5 hours, and it was nuts. So I got this idea to do this podcast, right? And meeting those guys has really helped me like crystallize. I like that word, crystallize my dreams, because I've always had this lofty kind of dream of, oh, I want to be a Kentucky basketball journalist, reporter, right? And that was just kind of a lofty goal of mine. I didn't actually think about, okay, well, how am I going to achieve that goal, right? It's just always been in the back of my mind. Kentucky basketball, college basketball. And now, after meeting those guys, I got a taste of that life, that career that I really, really want. I got a taste of it because it was right there in front of me, and I want it. I want it. I want what they have. So I'm going to get it. I'm going after it. So this is me doing my first episode of my podcast right here. In a year from now, I'm going to be closer to my dream. I'm putting it out in the universe. I literally made an Instagram. And if you know me, I do not have any kind of social media presence. I don't know why. I just got off of Instagram and Snapchat and all that a long time ago. And it brought a lot of peace into my life getting off social media. But I realize now, as a journalist and pursuing my dreams, I probably should get back on social media and just have somewhat of a presence, right? And John Fanta actually liked my Instagram post today, so that was pretty dope. He's the first one who liked it. So shout out to Mr. Fanta, always coming through. So yeah, that's just kind of like a little backstory of me and my experience in San Antonio meeting those guys. So this is kind of like just from the hip podcast. I mean, you can tell like my hair is a mess right now. Like I'm not really dressed particularly well or anything. This is just in my kitchen. The lighting is horrible, but hey, we're going for it, man. And this is the first one, so we're gonna see. But don't think I didn't plan on having a great show for y'all today. All right. So, all right, what do we have in store for us? So initially, my Final Four prediction was what I wanted was what we got. What I wanted was Houston, Florida. and that's what we got. But I thought that Duke and Auburn were going to win just because I thought Duke was going to outmatch Houston, and same goes with Auburn. I thought they were going to overpower Florida. But boy, I was pleasantly surprised. And I'm glad I was, because I don't like Duke and I really don't like Auburn. As a Kentucky fan, you can understand why I feel this way. Okay, so we got what I wanted. Okay, well, let's just talk about very quickly that Houston Duke matchup. Okay, so I was working that night, and my grandpa is a big Houston Cougars fan, right? Jim Nantz, Hakeem Olajuwon. And we were texting during the game. As a server, I'm not on my phone very much, and I don't really have time to look at the TV to see the score. But I did happen to catch the halftime score, and I believe it was 34-28, favoring the Blue Devils at the half. And when I saw that score, I immediately thought, well, that's good if you're a Cougars fan. Only being down 6 at the half when you haven't been shooting the ball very well is a good sign. I texted my grandpa. I said, "Coug staying in it?" ? And he responded, and he told me they were not shooting well from the field. But I thought in that moment, only being down 6, that is a good sign if you're a Cougars fan. Now, I got home with about 5 minutes to spare in the second half, and I got to witness what the whole world witnessed. I mean, Houston they just went on a run, a tear, and it was something to see. I mean, Cooper Flag with that fadeaway with 5 seconds left. I mean, bless his heart, but it just came up short. I'm not a fan of a fadeaway in that kind of scenario. Your legs are exhausted. From playing for 40 minutes, and a fadeaway over Roberts, I believe, who was guarding him, a 7-footer, is not ideal in that scenario. Everyone knew it was going to Flag. I'm not mad at that. But, Khan Knippel is a great shooter as well. And you just have to think, man, I just didn't like that fadeaway looking shot from Flag. I felt as if, as a shooter myself, if you know me, back in the day, I could really, really put the ball in the hoop from the perimeter, and still got it to this day. As a shooter, a fadeaway is never ideal. You really, and in that kind of pressure scenario, I mean, when I saw it barely hit the rim and brick, I was not surprised, And I think it's worth talking about Duke and Kentucky in the Champions Classic early on in the season, because we saw kind of a similar game where Duke was ahead at the half, late in the second half, and Kentucky just comes on this run, and it's a one possession game. Cooper Flag has the ball with 10 seconds left, and he's dribbling down the lane, and we turn him over. And Kentucky wins that game, which was the first big win in the Mark Pope era, right? And I believe Cooper also had another game. I believe it was against Kansas, where it was a close game down the wire, and he came up short. So I'm not saying that Cooper Flag is not clutch. I'm not saying that. I mean, the kid should be a senior in high school. I mean, he's only 18. I mean, God, that's impressive as hell. But you have to wonder, it just makes you wonder, right, about his potential to be that closer. I know a lot of people want him to come back another year, but you're crazy if you think he's coming back. I mean, I guess there's a possibility, but nah, he's gone. And I'm happy he's gone too, because he's a damn good player, and I'm glad he's out of there because I feel like if him and Colin Knippel decide to come back for a second year, I don't think they're losing in the Final Four. I think they would win it all. So we don't want that as a Kentucky fan. So yeah, that game was crazy. I mean, I was blowing up my friend's phone, like going nuts, because that was one of the craziest comebacks and craziest collapses of all time. If you really think about it, I mean, it was insane. Like I couldn't get over it for like a good 24 hours, and my grandpa couldn't either. My grandpa, he was watching the game, and somehow it paused in the midst of the game, and I called him, and I'm like, "Hey, man, are you watching this?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's 59-51, Duke's winning." I'm like, "No, Houston just won." He's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Houston won." He's like, "What are you talking about? It's 59-51." I'm like, "No, you need to go to the live. You must have paused it somehow along the way." And sure enough, he had paused it, and he fast forwarded and saw, and just crazy. I mean, this kind of loss for Duke could potentially be haunting for years to come. I'm not saying that's going to happen, and I really don't wish that upon them. I mean, because quite frankly, Kentucky's been haunted for, you know, I mean, we're not haunted anymore because we got rid of Kyle, but we have Mark Pope at the helm, and he had a pretty good season his first year in my eyes. So I don't hope that Duke is haunted by this loss and is kind of underwhelming the next couple of years. But it could happen, right? Because that kind of loss is so devastating. Like Kentucky's losses in the first round to St. Peter's and Oakland. Those are devastating losses, and you don't get over those, quickly. That's a tough loss, particularly when you have a Cooper flag and you have the number one offense in the nation, right? But it was just insane. I mean, Houston they just flat out wanted it more. And it sucks that Houston did so well down the stretch in that Duke game, but you flash forward to Monday night against Florida in the championship, and there was quite the contrast in how Houston ended that game. They ended the game up with 4 turnovers, 4 straight possessions. They had turnovers. And I thought it was a hell of a championship game up until the last play. I did not like the last play, obviously. It was very anticlimactic and not ideal for the sport. You want them to at least get a shot off, right? Even if it gets blocked or something. You want them to at least get up a shot for aesthetically pleasing purposes, because the ending was not aesthetically pleasing. I mean, it was ugly. I mean, but you got to put yourself into Emmanuel Sharp's shoes. As a shooter myself, like I said, you get the ball at the top of the key there, and you're thinking shoot because like the clock is ticking. So Crier swings him the ball, and he's at the top of the key. He gets it, and he goes into a shooting form. He's looking to shoot, and I understand that. Like I completely understand his mindset. I mean, he's looking to shoot, but you have to give Walter Clayton Jr. credit because he was coming in hot. I mean, he closed that space in between. He closed that space on Sharp fast, which caused Sharp to jump and have to let go of it, because if he would have shot it, it would have gotten blocked. So you had to give Clayton a lot of credit. But if I were, obviously, you want Sharp to pump fake, dribble, shoot it, because he did have enough time to pull that off. He would have been able to pump fake. But you just have to put yourself into Sharp shoes. And I understand, just when you get it, you thinking shoot. And so that's a tough pill to swallow, man. But hell of a game. I thought when Houston went up 12, they were in good stead. I mean, they just couldn't deliver that knockout punch. And how about Walter Clayton Jr. not scoring for 32 minutes? He didn't score for 32 minutes, folks. Can you believe that? I mean, and Elijah Martin didn't really get going until late in the second half either. Will Richard kept him in the ball game. I believe he had like 14 at the half. I mean, who would have thought that? I mean, Will Richard's their third, fourth best player. But Walter Clayton Jr. not scoring until the 32-minute mark is insane. If you would have told me that heading into the championship game, oh, I would have said Houston wins by double digits. Easy. And they were on their way to. Obviously, Florida made adjustments. You got to give credit to Golden. They run really good stuff. I mean, they run a lot of good things. Clayton obviously was still contributing to the game. I mean, he had a lot of assists. I believe he had, 8 or 9 assists in the game, which is impressive. But I mean, he just couldn't get going. I mean, Houston was locking him up. And it was interesting to see. I mean, he finally got loose on a few, but it was interesting. But it was all in all, it was a great tournament. It didn't have as much parity as former tournaments have had, but that's okay. I mean, you're not going to get Cinderellas every year. This year was the year of the heavyweights. You had 4 number 1 seeds and the championship, and that's okay. It made for a great Final Four, you know. So it was good. I'm pleased with it. I'm glad it was in San Antonio. I think San Antonio should be the host city more often. I think it's a great atmosphere. Everyone seems to really enjoy it. Some may say it's a more civilized version of New Orleans with the Riverwalk and all. That's obviously an exaggeration, but yeah, it's a good venue. What else do we have? Transfer portal. God. This transfer portal stuff is wild. I mean, one of Todd Golden's assistants was talking after the game with the field of 68, and he was basically saying how, yeah, they're going to be able to celebrate this victory, but they're 3 weeks behind all the other teams as far as the transfer portal goes. And why is that? Well, because they've been winning. They won the national championship. So where other teams have lost and have been able to start recruiting players and getting those transfer guys while the tournament's still going on, meanwhile, the teams who are still winning, they don't have time to do all that. So it almost puts the winning team at a disadvantage because now Florida and Houston are 3 weeks behind all the other teams when it comes to the transfer portal. And, obviously you take that trade off. You want to keep winning and win this year and focus on next year when it comes. But I think that's an interesting dynamic that the NCAA has right now because yeah, you would think the winning team would have all the advantage in the world, but it's actually the opposite. They have a disadvantage going into next year because all these teams have been recruiting and making moves in the transfer portal, which leads me to the transfers Kentucky has gotten. Kentucky just got Tulane transfer Cam Williams, supposedly a sharpshooter. We got Muhammad Diabate from Alabama, which was a huge get for Mark Pope and the staff. Huge get. Diabate is a real physical presence down low, and he averaged 8 or 9 points last year at Alabama. And when he played Kentucky in all 3 games, he did very well. And it is a good addition for Mark Pope, a very physical player. Something that we may have lacked a little bit last year was our physicality and our defense. Certainly, our defense was not up to par last year. And then we got Jaden Quaitance. Now, this is an interesting player that we just got from Arizona State. Now, he had formerly committed to Kentucky before going to ASU, but this was when we had Coach Cal. when Cal went to Arkansas, Quaytance decided to go to ASU, but in the back of his mind, he always wanted to be a Kentucky Wildcat. Well, fast forward, and he just committed to Kentucky. But a lot of people, you know how the Kentucky fans are. They can be so just crazy and delusional. And some of them are saying that it's not a very good pickup because he did tear his ACL a few months ago, and I don't think he's going to recover from that till probably right around when the season is starting. I don't really know what to make of that. I think that it's a great pickup. I mean, he's a 5-star recruit. Um, he's super athletic, so obviously it sucks he's recovering from his ACL, but I think it's still a good pickup by Mark Pope and the crew. And then we got Mr. Jalen Lowe from Pittsburgh, and he's originally from Missouri City, Texas. Played for Houston Hoops, so hometown hero. I'm gonna be rooting for Jalen, obviously, because he's from Mo City and I'm from Katy, so that's not far away from one another. Houston, greater area of Houston. So Jalen Lowe, point guard. Don't know much about him. Don't really know what to make of it, but hey, he's a cat now. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he does in the Kentucky uniform. So as of right now, those are our transfers that we have acquired. Obviously, it's imperative that we get Otega Owe back. Owe was our leading scorer last year. We really need him back, and I'm pretty confident that he will decide to come back another year in Lexington. In addition to that, we need Brandon Garrison back, another 5-star, played very well last year, coming in for Amari Williams. We need those two guys back, Brandon and Owe. Please come back. And then obviously the trio of Perry, Noah, and Chandler. Perry already announced he's coming back. Chandler, I believe, announced too. And we need Noah back as well. I believe they may have all announced they're coming back, but we need all those guys back. I mean, they're great bench players. I mean, we saw Chandler make amazing strides just last year in this tournament. I mean, amazing. Who would have thought Chandler would come into or blossom into such a great player? So we need all those guys back. And then we have a lot of guys coming in. Jasper Johnson's, Malachi Moreno. I mean, two amazing freshmen and another guy. But let me double check that for y'all. Check the roster. But we have a great class coming in for next season, and I hope we make it back to the Final Four because, like I said, it's been a little while. Akadin Lewis, Jasper Johnson, Cam Williams, yeah, Akadin Lewis, another great freshman. So it's going to be kind of a blend of freshmen, older players, physicality, defense. We still need to get a shooter like a Kobe Brea like last year. We still need a good shooter. Obviously, we have the boys Noah, Perry, and Chandler, but I think we need one more flamethrower. And I think we have a pretty solid team. I mean, I'm pretty confident in Pope. Pope put together a hell of a team last year. I mean, if it weren't for our injuries, I mean, we beat Florida. We beat Duke. We beat 2 Final Four teams when we were fully healthy, and it sucks that we had to go through injuries this season. But hey, when we were fully healthy, man, I would take us against anybody, really. I mean, we were good. I mean, we beat Florida. We beat the national champs. I think that game, Florida head coach Todd Golden said that was kind of a wake-up call, a turning point for them because he just mentioned that loss in one of his press conferences in Rupp Arena and just said how after that game they really came together and started winning a bunch of ball games. So, that loss to Kentucky seemed to really put the Gators in shape, and they went on to win a national championship. So good for Todd Golden. He's only 39, guys. I mean, only 39. It looks like he would get ID'd at a bar. I mean, really. And this guy is young, and obviously Shire, Duke head coach, is very young too. But it's exciting. Those are probably the premier new faces in college basketball. You know, you had Sampson and Bruce Pearl, kind of the older guys, on their way out, and now you see Todd Golden, John Shire, Mark Pope's even pretty young. You know, obviously he's been around, but yeah, I mean it's exciting. I'm happy for Florida. I'm happy the SEC won, but one thing that's kind of like crazy to think about is Florida has 3 national championships since 2000. Obviously, they won back to back with Billy Donovan, and Kentucky only has one in 2012. Granted, we still have 8 national championships all time, second most, right behind UCLA with 11. But that's that's crazy. Florida has 3. We have 1. I'm not saying that Florida is the king of the SEC or anything, but they are on their way. I mean, they might be, guys. They might be. Like, they have 3 natties. We have 1 since 2000. So, yeah. But I'm a Florida fan. I was on them last year when they had Zion Pullen. I mean, they were good last year. Do y'all remember that, guys? They had Zion Pullen and Walter Clayton. They were nasty last year too. I was on them last year. Um, yeah. So I'm a little sad that the NCAA basketball season's over. I mean, if you know me, I love college hoops. It's just so fun. It's amazing. I love it. It's great. It's great basketball. You know, the good, the bad, the ugly. Sometimes college basketball can be really ugly, as we saw in that championship game. That was some moments in that game were just ugly. I mean, no one could buy a shot. You know, it was just ugly. But that's what's great about it. You know, it's beautiful. I really enjoy college ball. But yeah, so now we have the NBA season to look forward to, the playoffs. I always get up and in it, really excited when the playoffs roll around. And the Houston Rockets are currently the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. Who would have thought that, right? Well, some of my buddies might have thought that. They're big Rockets fans. I like the Rockets, you know, but I really don't get into it until you know, the postseason. But right now, the Rockets are the 2 seed, man. So that's exciting. Um, Obviously, the Lakers are there. The Thunder are really good. Shout out Shea Gilgeous Alexander. Man, who remembers when Shea was at Kentucky and he came off the bench and just worked his way into the starting position role, went on to win the SEC tournament. I mean, that was amazing. I still remember watching that SEC tournament and Shea just going nuclear in that tournament and ultimately winning the championship for us. And now to see Shea just blossom in the league is a really, really cool feeling as a Kentucky fan because you just saw his growth over the season when he was with us. That was really special. So I'm happy for Shea and what they have going on there in OKC right now. So it'll be interesting. You know, obviously the Lakers dynamic is very intriguing as well. You have Luca and LeBron, which you know makes for some good headlines. It's and the Nuggets just fired their head coach Michael Malone. I need to read up on that more. I was kind of scratching my head as to why they did that. I mean, they won the 2023 NBA championship, so I'm not sure what all went into that, but I will definitely look into that. But yeah, this is like I said, it's kind of from the hip. You know, my first podcast. Just wanted to do it and see what it's like. But yeah, I mean, I feel pretty comfortable talking, you know, to the camera. I just need to come prepared every single time with good stories and breaking news for y'all so I can keep y'all entertained. But yeah, I'm gonna probably try to do this maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. Obviously, since the college basketball season's over, that sucks. So, but by the time the next season rolls around, I'll be very established in my podcast. And yeah, so this is fun. I need a name, guys, for my podcast. So any comments, suggestions, please drop in the comments below because I'm struggling for names. In fact, I may even ask, ChatGPT, what's a good podcast name? Because I don't know. I don't know, but I don't want to have to do that. Hopefully, I can just think of something. But yeah, so amazing Final Four, amazing experience at the Smoke Sky Bar with the Field of 68. Those guys are super cool. If you haven't already, go check them out on YouTube, Twitter. It's the Field of 68. What the Field of 68 is, it's a network consisting of a lot of different individuals, unique individuals with varying backgrounds, experiences. Some of them are former players, some are just analysts, some are journalists, and it's a really nice mix of professionals, and it's amazing. They started their show about 3 years ago, and I saw it one day on YouTube, and they were just essentially breaking down the games and giving thought-provoking game recaps and analysis. So, being a Kentucky fan, they were breaking down the Kentucky game. So, I watched and I was like, oh wow, they offer a really unique perspective on the game, and so I started tapping in. I started following him. And over time, I just kind of gradually developed kind of a relationship with each one of the characters' personalities on the Field of 68. And I've been watching him for 2, 3 years now. I mean, I watched them quite a bit, and it is really interesting how they break the game down and provide so much detailed information on what's going on in college basketball. And yeah, I got that opportunity to meet some of the guys who I've been watching for the last few years. And yeah, it was just amazing experience. Um, I really just thank God for that experience. And here we are now, my first episode of my podcast. So yeah, first one in the books. I feel really good about it. Gonna look to get it uploaded on YouTube tonight, hopefully, and we'll see where it goes. But yeah, what do we have to look forward to? Basically, just the beginning of the NBA playoffs is right around the corner. Transfer portal news is big right now. Baseball starting, so that's what's going on right now. But I can't wait for the NBA playoffs, and I'm gonna be doing a lot of episodes on that too. So stay tuned for more, guys. Thank y'all so much, and I can't wait for the next episode and to see where this journey takes me. All right, guys. Till next time. Bye.